Have you ever wondered if you could make animations on your mobile phone or your tablet? Well, there's an app out there for you. It's called Flipaclip. Some of you may have known it for this video since you're not new to the app. But for those of you who are and are seeking to improve your skills, you may find this video very helpful. And with that said, let's get into it. Good day everyone. Today I want to change my outlook and my style to making tutorial videos, and I want to use a more direct method that is actually a little bit convenient for me rather than going through the scripted method of tutorials that I've been doing. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, usually I try to write scripts so that I won't have to explain a lot when I'm actually going through my animations. But today let's just go into it and let me see whether this style of making Flipaclip tutorial videos is much more exciting and much more convenient for you guys. And today I want to be focusing on a crucial aspect of animation, which is our rough layer. That's what I call it actually. I don't know what other animators do, but it's a unique thing to everyone. Everyone have their own unique styles of making animation, but yeah, it's just mine. So I just want to show you my own method, and if it's helpful to you, please like, share and subscribe to anybody that you think might want to be a potential animator. And today let me just call this rough layer tutorial. Yeah, and for those of you that are guessing, for those of you who don't know, I'm using a Samsung Galaxy Tab S7. It comes with a pen, and I've been using it for the past I don't know how long I've been using it, probably maybe 2 years or so or more. So usually whenever I want to make my animation, I first choose the canvas size, and I prefer to use this YouTube size. I bet almost everybody uses that size because it's the highest quality that is on Flipaclip right now. And I've been wishing for Flipaclip to actually have an HD or a 4K resolution actually, so that I can use that. And that's like one of the major turn off of Flipaclip for me. But it's still a very good app, and let's just deal with what we have. So the first thing is that we already have our layers. Now this is a very underrated thing when it comes to making layers. Some people don't label their layers. How can you have a layer and you don't label your layer, for God's sake? Yeah, it's a little bit of a hassle, but usually when you're making an animation, especially if you are working on a group project, it's very important for you to name your layer so that those who you are sharing your project with can understand what your layer is all about. Now today let's just make and label this layer the rough layer. This is our foundation layer. Yes, done. Now you might wonder, what is this? This is a canvas. It's a black screen. We have ideas I want to bring to life, and right now the idea that is coming to my head is just to make someone who is looking away from the screen look at the screen. Yeah, it's surprise. Now how do we go about that? Even I don't know how I'm going to go about that, but I know for the first thing we need a head, and we need a proportion of that head to your camera. So the first thing is to draw the size of the head. But before we even draw the size of the head, yes, this is one thing we have to do. Our rough layer is our layers to make mistakes, make corrections, just have a rough idea of what you are trying to make. It's not something you should take so seriously. Just have fun with your rough layer. And first, let me reduce the opacity. There are some people that can go into it, make their rough layer without reducing the opacity. It has become an habit for me to reduce the opacity of my rough layer, maybe purely out of habit. So usually it appears gray. So the first thing is that I want to have the size of the head I want to animate. This is the rough size of the head I want to animate. Now remember, our guy is looking away from the camera. Yes, it's looking away from the camera, and then it turns to observe the camera in shock. So this is my own way of doing it. This line out here is showing me the position of the eyes, and that's it. So let me just take that off. So this is our very first frame. Now in our second frame we have him slightly, oh man, okay, actually it's raining out now, so I'm very sorry for those who can't find the audio to be very clear. I don't have a speaker or whatever they use to record audios, so I'm just recording with my phone's mic, and so you just have to bear with me. Maybe until the day I have a speaker, if I actually decide to go into YouTube fully, and then I can decide to get a mic and have better record of my voice. So in the second frame, let's have our character twist his head slightly. Now, look at this. Our character is twisting his head to the side. And then in our final frame, we observe that our character is looking straight at the screen. Yeah. So first of all, let me switch off this frame after. The onion layer, the frames before will let me know the position of our previous sketch, and then our next sketch. So it's like a guiding force for the position. So on our final position is looking directly at the camera. Now this is our rough. So our rough, you don't take this part too seriously. This part is just for you to get your proportions right. And now let's look at it. Let's scroll. Okay. Yeah. Now you can see it's looking at, but if we are to play it, yeah, this is not going to be what you see. It seems to be. Look at it. It's looking very fast and doesn't make any sense. So now what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? So we want the first frame to have him rest a little bit. You know, he doesn't know the camera is already at his face, so we have to make more copies, multiple copies of the initial frame. So what we want to do is we want to click on this cell labeled 1. It comes out with this option, copy frame. We copy this frame, and then there's this option called paste after. We paste after. Now depending on how long you want it to look away from the camera before noticing the camera, you can extend the amount of duplicate frames you want. You can just keep pressing this, so that it takes a long time to look before it looks at the camera. Now look at this. But then we notice that the guy is looking at the camera for too short a period before going back. So what do? We go to our last frame, which is our very, very last frame. We copy it the same way we copied our first frame, and then we duplicate it also to multiple frames. So this part is just purely experimental. If you are working with an animation, if you are working on a project, maybe you are working with a studio, or maybe working with your friends, our fellow animators, they can give you a timesheet or tell you the amount of time it's going to take for him to take his face from this point to this point, and then at that point you have to be very good about it. But because we are just purely enjoying ourselves over here and just doing our thing, yeah, it's purely experimental. Now look at this. Okay, now we have a very good edge turn in front of us, but it is still looking not too professional. And this is where we come in with in-betweens. So now you have to locate your in-between frame, because if you recollect, we had only 3 frames initially. There was one, this is the initial frame. Now this was what was in between the head turn, and this is the final head turn. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy these labels to the other frames that are duplicated so that we can know them. Let me put this. And then let's copy this to the other ones. All right, so we have our in between. Oh no, I've already made a mistake, but okay, let's just go. Oh, I thought that was initial, not in between. It's initial. Sorry. Copy. Yes. Now, one thing you need to know about making animations on Flipaclip is that a lot of processes on Flipaclip are very repetitive, and if you are not willing to keep on doing this process, you get tired of the app. There are other people that use other animation softwares, probably on a computer, on a laptop. There are easier ways. This makes you guys do this without having to constantly repeat yourself over and over again. But I actually like that for Flipaclip because it gives you some, how can I put it, some kind of control on every single frame. So I personally wouldn't want Flipaclip to change for the world or change for anybody. But yeah, it's an app that requires you to constantly repeat certain actions, especially when you make mistakes. So let's just go ahead with that. Now we have our initial, our in-between, and our final frame. Now we're just calling that in-between for the sake of this video, but there is more. Actually, the better way to have labeled this would have been probably frame 1, frame 2, and frame 3, because right now is now where we put in our in-between. Now in between the initial and our so-called in-between, let us create another in-between. So we click this plus icon, we go over to our onion skin, and we click on enabling our frame after. Now this helps us to see the frame before and the frame after. So now look at this. We have this red denotes the frame before and the green denotes the frame after. So now let's add an in-between frame to smoothen the action, to smoothen the movement between them, and then keep your forms consistent. Look at this. Woo! Looking nice, looking nice. I think I'm going to create something nice. So let's draw them. Now this line over here shows this how can I put this vertical line that I'm pulling, this one that I'm drawing here, yes, is to show you the position of the nose and the mouth. So this horizontal line is my own indication of the eyes, and usually it also helps me to gauge the position of the hair when I want to draw the hair. So now we have the initial, the in-between, the in-between, the in-between, and the final. So let us put an in-between between the in-between and the final. That's okay. This is becoming a mouthful. The in-between, the in-between. Well, let's just go on. I think it sounds fun. So now we are in between the in-between and the final. So if you can follow, that's good. Big brain move over there. So let's just go. Yeah. Now when you are drawing in between, you notice that most times your lines fall in between the previous and the final frame, and that's probably why they call it in between. Because me that I'm teaching you, I over here that's teaching you how to make your animations, I'm not necessarily a learned animator in the sense that I didn't go to animation school. So I'm self-taught and I'm teaching you. So forgiving me if I don't know the terms. If there's any professional animator, if there's any professional animator watching this and is getting tired of my terms, do not be offended. I didn't go to animation school. I'm just a self-taught animator. Now look at this line over here, and this line over here is showing us the position of the nose and the mouth. So we want to have another line in between them. So now we have how many frames? Now the total frames we have is 5. Remember, we had 3 initial frames and we added 2 in betweens. So now we have a total of 5 frames. So this is the in between, the in between. Now look at it. It looks smoother. It looks smoother and slower. So when you're making your animations, depending on how fast you want the head turn to be, you can eradicate certain in betweens and just leave them out. But if you want your animations to look smoother and slower, just increase the amount of in betweens you're adding. Now if I want to even make it look even slower, make the head turn much more slower than it is, we add an in between the initial and the in between we just made. We add another in between this in between and the in between. So let's say between frame 8 and 9. So let's just start calling them the frame number. Now there's another movement between frame 10 and frame 11. So we add another frame between frame 10 and frame 11, which makes frame 11 frame 12 and they are in between frame 11. And then finally between frame 12 and frame 13 we add another in between, making our frame 13 frame 14 and our newly added in between frame 13. So you can go at this anyhow you like. You can start from the front, you can start from the back, just add your in between and freestyle it. But let's just start from the front in sake of keeping things orderly. So let's go to frame 7 and then we add another in between. So let's add the line that guides the nose and the mouth, and then the horizontal line that gives us the position of the eyes and the ear. Then don't forget to add the position your neck and the shoulder. Then we go to the next in between, that's between frame 9 and frame 10. Oh man, I love Flipaclip. It's fast. It's the best app for beginners. Now this is not them sponsoring me. I wish they actually sponsored me. My channel is not even that big enough for a sponsor, and I'm not even doing this for the sponsorship right now. I'm just doing this because I know there are a lot of animators out there that need guidance in making their animations. And for some reason, some of you look up to me, even though I don't have a very big follower base or anything. But sometimes I get messages from people, and I really appreciate those messages, because I don't see myself as someone who is exceptionally skilled, and I'm not social. I don't have this. But if you feel you have things that you can learn from me, then why shouldn't I give back to the world? Let me just help in my own little way. And thank you guys for actually watching. So now we move to the next in between. Let's draw this. And then our final in between. So in the next tutorial video that I'll be making, I'll be going over the sketch layer, which is usually the next layer I usually do when I'm making my animations. And there we're going to focus on the details, applying more details that we need. And yeah, you're going to see the whole thing. So if you've made it this far watching this video, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And this time around, I will really try to be consistent with my uploads, and hopefully give some insight to anybody that is trying to learn animation using Flipaclip. So thank you very much. God bless you.